Alright, our next topic is going to be on order of operations. So we're going to take a look at and follow the correct order when we're solving expressions and evaluating them. So today is the 19th, and the topic is going to be order of operations. So the order of operations are just rules to follow when simplifying an expression that contains multiple operations. So there's this nice little acronym that you've probably seen before in your other classes before this class. It's called PEMDAS. The P stands for parentheses. E stands for exponents. M and D stand for multiplication and division. And you go left to right with those. And then same thing for addition and subtraction. You go left to right. So the symbols for these things, I'm going to put parentheses on the side. Exponents are what we just worked on in Unit 1 with a little 2. Multiplying and dividing is when you have the times symbol or the dot. And adding, subtracting is plus minus. Some other symbols you might see would be brackets. And in exponents, you might see the square root symbol or the cubed root symbol. Those would also be dealt with in the exponents. Multiply, divide, you might also see a slash symbol for divide. So what it's telling you is that you have to follow this order when you're evaluating your expressions that have multiple operations. So you always start off looking for any parentheses, and you do what's inside of the parentheses. After the parentheses, you have exponents, so you look for any exponents or square root symbols. Then you look for multiplication or division, and adding and subtracting. So let's look at some examples. Our first example, let's say I gave you 7 plus 9 divided by 3, parentheses 2. Alright, so following my order of operations, I'm going to make my little notation here on the side, PEMDAS. I look for any parentheses. So I do see parentheses in this problem, but there's only a number 2 inside of it, so I don't have to do anything inside of this parentheses. So in this case, this parentheses means multiply. So then I look for exponents. There is no exponents, or there are no exponents in this problem, so I can skip that step. Now I'm going to multiplying and dividing. And remember, when you go to multiply and divide, you go from left to right. So as I move from left to right, the first thing that comes up is that 9 divided by 3. So I'm going to rewrite the 7 because I don't do anything with the 7 just yet. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. So notice how I'm showing my work in this step. I'm doing it step by step so I don't make any mistakes. Once I've completed that first step, I do the same thing again and I go through my order of operations. So here again, there's no parentheses other than this 2, but in this case it means multiply because it's inside of the 2. There's no exponents, so now I'm going to multiply because I've got 7 plus 3 times 2, which is 6. So then my final answer here is 13, because now I can just add 7 plus 3. Let's look at another example. And say I have 24 minus 4 squared times 3 plus 15. So in this problem, there are no parentheses. So I can move to my next step. I have exponents there, so I have to take care of exponents. So 24, 4 squared is 16, so minus 16 times 3 plus 15. Now at this step, I can take care of the multiplication there. So 24 minus 48 plus 15. Now I just have adding, subtracting, and I go left to right when you're at adding, subtracting. So 24 minus 48 is negative 24 plus 15. So my final answer here is negative 9. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples. Okay, so for number 3, I've got parentheses, exponents, and division. So remember, when we're doing order of operations, we want to start with parentheses and look at inside the parentheses, if there's anything I can do on the inside. And on this problem there is, because I've got 5 plus 2, which gives me 7. So I'm going to rewrite this as 7 minus 4 squared divided by 2. My next step is going to be taking care of the exponents, so here's an exponent here. So I'm going to drop the parentheses now because there's nothing going on with these parentheses. So I have 7 minus 16 divided by 2. Before I can do the subtraction, I have to divide. So I have to do 16 divided by 2. So I have 7 minus 8. So my final answer here is negative 1. So it's really important that you show step by step how you're completing your problems. Let's look at one more example. Okay, in this problem I have a fraction. So when you have a fraction like this, the way you treat it is that you do order of operations on the top of the fraction, and order of operations on the bottom of the fraction, and then divide. So on the top of the fraction I have exponents and then I'm subtracting. So 5 squared is 25 minus 4. On the bottom of the fraction I have multiplication and then subtraction. So I've got 3 times 5 is 15 minus 8. So now I can simplify that. 25 minus 4 is 21. 15 minus 8 is 7. So 21 divided by 7 is 3. So these are the order of operations that you follow when you're completing your problems. The common mistake that people make are forgetting that you go left to right when you have multiplication and division. So like number 1, even though the division came first, we had to do the division first because it came left to right. So now you can use your notes and see if this will help you start off your problems in class today.